this is really kind of the tip of the spear for things to come over the next 20-plus days or so before National Signing Day. And let's talk about the number one player in the country, Bryce Underwood. There's been a lot of smoke there with hometown Michigan. He's just coming off a visit from LSU, who he's been committed to for quite some time. What can you tell us with that recruitment?
This one's been pretty wild over the last couple of weeks because if you talk to people around the Michigan program, there's a lot of optimism that he's going to eventually land in Ann Arbor. However, after this past weekend's trip to LSU, some of that optimism has kind of dwindled down and is more, I would call it hope at this point. When you talk to people around the LSU program, they feel great. They fully expect him. He's maintained his commitment that he made back on January 6, 2024, and he's been locked in ever since. So very active recruiter behind the scenes, fired up to get there. This is an opportunity for him to step into LSU and honestly Michigan as well and be the guy and the starter from day one. So it's a great opportunity for him. LSU feels great. Michigan's hopeful. We'll see what happens. But my best guess, I think that would kind of align with our national analyst, Alan True. I think we both would probably lean towards LSU keeping him in the class right now.
Drew, any take here one way or the other? I mean, if you've been watching Bryce Underwood, I think last time we had the update, we said, all right, he's kind of put this thing away in terms of the conversation for the number one player in the country. In your mind, is there a place that makes more sense than the other?
Well, I think they both need him. Cooper, you brought this up to me in a private conversation, right? What can Bryce Underwood do? What have we said he's kind of evolved here and shown as a senior? It's his ability to run the football, right, and extend plays and get outside the pocket. Yeah, we know he can pass it. Yeah, we know he's a really talented athlete. But I think him showing as a second-level runner here as a senior is so notable. And for LSU, right, you got Garrett Nussmeier back there behind two of these potential first-round picks at offensive tackle, and he still isn't able to really create when things break down, which I think hampers the offense. On the flip side, Michigan, I mean, they need all the help they can get. My question for Tom is, all right, if Michigan doesn't get Bryce Underwood, what is the next plan for them? What is plan B? Because let's not forget, they parted ways essentially with Carter Smith, the former Gatorade Player of the Year down in the Sunshine State, who is someone that I compare to Max Duggan, right? I think he can win on Saturdays. Yeah, he's a three-star prospect. He might not be inside the top 247. He might not be the sharpest of passers, but this is a guy to me fit Michigan's building, a guy that was recruiting for that class. So, if they come up empty-handed with Bryce, what other direction are they going to go? Because, hey, we're less than 4 weeks out till signing day.
I don't have a name for you at this point. What I do know is that they really, really like their class of 2026 quarterback commit Brady Hart in your backyard there in the Sunshine State. And then I think about what Sharon Moore said and talked about how they're going to be fine with kind of that smirk on his face. So clearly he's got something up his sleeve. At this point, again, I don't necessarily have a name in 2025 right now of who they would pivot to. I'm not even sure that they would pivot to anybody this late in the process. So it's going to be a fun couple of weeks for Michigan fans, I'm sure. But I still can't stop thinking about that little smirk he had. I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, and you got to remember, top 247 quarterback Jaden Davis, who redshirted this year. Drew, I think the other thing, as you and I have talked about, transfer portal available to them as well. We don't know which names are going to be in there, but in the next couple of weeks, I think there'll be more of a market, especially for Michigan, if they want to go that route. Tom, another five-star right now that we're keeping an eye on. How about Naeem Offord, number 12 player in the country, number 2 cornerback, committed to Ohio State, out of the state of Alabama. But you got some teams coming on, Auburn, Oregon, Florida. What's the latest with his recruitment?
Yeah, he's expected at Florida this weekend, but I'm not really necessarily calling him a heavy hitter, a big player in this recruitment. My 24/7 Sports crystal ball is on the Auburn Tigers, and everybody that I talk to around this recruitment still maintains that Auburn is the most likely flip destination for him if he decides to part ways with Ohio State and not play alongside the number 1 corner of the country, Devin Sanchez. So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks. Again, though, I still feel good about my pick for Auburn. There's a lot of optimism coming out of the Plains right now. Oregon's pushing. Florida's hoping for a home run visit this weekend. We'll see if, keeping Billy Napier in Gainesville for another year is a positive. But again, right now, my best guess would be Auburn.
Tom, another defensive back, one of my personal favorites in the class. I feel like we've talked about this kid on the 105 every show for the past week. Ivan Taylor, our number 2 ranked safety, number 41 overall player, committed to Michigan. I think you got a crystal ball pick in for the Crimson Tide.
I feel great about that pick. There was a moment where Michigan was really doing some nice work behind the scenes and trying to keep him in the fold. But then I got a text the next day saying it's kind of a done deal and they're not feeling very confident in Ann Arbor. So the Crimson Tide, we talked about this for really over a month or two, that they're doing a phenomenal job here and really, really connecting with him. Some of the guys behind the scenes are just really connecting with him and developing a great relationship with him and really treating him like a priority. So I think everything that Alabama stands for, everything they're doing, it seems to be hitting a home. It's a home run for Ivan Taylor, but not only him, but also the parents. I'm told that mom and dad are very, very much on board with a future for him at Alabama. Again, feel great about my crystal ball for the Crimson Tide.
Tom, let's talk about another LSU commit, this one ranked inside the top 50. That's Derek Meadows, the number 7 receiver in the country out of Bishop Gorman High School in Nevada. You think about Meadows, some of the schools that have been attached to him throughout the recruitment, Notre Dame and Michigan, still pushing here. What are the chances that he could flip before signing day?
Myself and Blair Angulo have been all over this one, and I think both of us are a little surprised, but I'm not sure either of us expect him to stick with LSU. I don't want to speak for Blair, but I think we're both on the same page here. LSU doing a really nice job. He's obviously been committed since July. But if I really had a best guess at this point, I think he eventually flips to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. My crystal ball has been in there since day one, really. He was leaning heavily, almost committed to Notre Dame, ended up getting on campus at LSU, fell in love with the program, fell in love with the school, playing in the SEC. But as time moved on, I think there's just something about Notre Dame that kind of caught his eye. He had a great visit over the weekend, this past weekend. So a lot to like if you're a Notre Dame fan. I would keep a very close eye on Derek Meadows. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks. I do know that he's going to get to LSU for his first game day visit later this month. I believe that's when Oklahoma comes to town, maybe the last weekend of the month. So that's going to be a great opportunity for LSU to kind of keep him in the fold and keep him on campus and get him in. But at this point, my best guess is that Notre Dame gets it done.
Tom, this is one you've been talking about for a while behind the scenes. Julian Lewis, I think you officially fired in the crystal ball pick for him to go and flip to Colorado. Is this a done deal? Is Indiana still out of the mix? Is USC still involved? What's the latest there?
Well, the latest is he's expected to show up at Georgia this weekend, so that's going to be interesting. So another wrinkle to watch. But to be completely transparent, I love my prediction right now for Colorado. I feel great about it. I mean, people think I've been kind of flip-flopping with my picks on here. I've really only put in one crystal ball pick, and it's for Colorado. So there was moments where Auburn was feeling very, very good about its chances, but they just couldn't come to an agreement, get on the same page, and they couldn't get it done. So they pivoted to Deuce Knight. Georgia was in the mix early on, and then it started looking like Indiana was able to get it done. There's a great opportunity for him to start from day one. Not a guarantee, though, but everything else seemed to work out. But again, they couldn't get him on campus. He was talking about visiting Bloomington multiple times, but it couldn't pull the trigger and get there for a late season game day visit. So that kind of both sides really kind of parted ways at this point. So you got to watch Georgia this weekend. We'll see what happens. They already have Ryan Montgomery in the fold. Again, at this point, I think there's Georgia coaching, the sources, things like that. They feel like there's a shot, but they're not really all that optimistic. So I feel great about Colorado. If he ends up picking the Buffaloes, maybe a signing day flips late in the process, splash that Deion Sanders is known to get. I also think it's the best opportunity for him to step in day one and be the starter and take over for Shedeur Sanders. So great opportunity. Feel great. Adam Munster-Taggart does a great job on our Colorado site. He too is on board with the Buffaloes. I expect Colorado to land Julian Lewis.
That time of the year, quarterback dominoes. We'll see what Georgia does. Pretty interesting tidbit there. Tom, Andrew, we appreciate it as always. Guys, just a reminder, you are locked in to the 105. You can catch us every Monday and Wednesday. Monday, 2 o'clock Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Wednesday, right here on the 24/7 Sports YouTube channel, in wherever you find your podcast. For Andrew Ivins, Tom Loy, I'm Cooper Patagna. Have a great rest of your week.